Hi, friends, and welcome to the Mindful Journal Club. My name is Alexis Russell. I am the founder of the Mindful Journaling Club, and today we are diving into our Build Your Confidence and Embrace Your Self-Worth journal session. So we're just going to kind of jump right in today. I'm working off of my slides so that I don't miss anything. So for those of you who don't know, I started the Mindful Journal Club back in October of 2023. And this club was a way to be completely honest, one, for me to be consistent with my journaling, but then also to bring others along for the ride so that they can build on, start, and bring back even their own journaling journeys. And so I love to journal. I've been a writer for as long as I can remember. And to be able to do that in a group, in a club, and to know that there are people who are looking for the journal prompts and wanting to just kind of talk about what they're learning about themselves, that self-discovery process was key for me. And so I just wanted to build a community around that. It's an uplifting, supportive, and safe community. And we are the Mindful Journal Club. So if you are not a member, it is free to join. And in that club, you'll have access to all of the recorded journaling recaps, journal prompts every week, daily affirmations, and more. So I'll put that link down below on the screen somewhere or in the description, but you will be able to access that. And it's just a matter of signing up. So we love to have you in the Mindful Journal Club, and we hope to see you there. So today, it's all about building confidence and embracing your inherent self-worth. So we're going to start with our welcome and intention setting. We're going to move into our mindfulness moment, and then we're going to shift into our confidence and self-worth journaling prompts. And then, of course, we always end in gratitude. So we always begin by setting our intentions. And for me, I say this just about every session, intentions are heart driven. They are not what you are expecting out of someone or out of an experience or out of even showing up today, but rather they're more about what it is that you want to gain, what it is that you want to work on, why it is you showed up today. That is what intentions are all about. So we are going to set our intention, and we're going to answer this first journal prompt of what is your intention specifically for today's session. We're going to release all expectations, and we're going to focus on what it is simply that you would like to gain out of your time spent here today. So we took a few minutes, we responded to that prompt. And my intention for today is to be present and to provide all that I can, knowledge-wise, support-wise, whatever it may be, all that I can during this session of building our confidence and embracing our inherent self-worth. So for me, I think it's important not to gatekeep, especially when there's information that can actually help someone. And in my case, I do a lot of mental health work, a lot of mindfulness work, and these are things that can help people. And so it's, taking it on, it's my job to offer this knowledge to anyone who needs it. And so that's what my intention is today, is to give the knowledge, to not hold back, and to be fully present in here. So our opening journal prompt, we always start with this opening journal prompt. And this one was really about perception, because we see ourselves differently than the world may see us and our family may see us. And sometimes we can be our own worst critics. So this prompt is to reflect on how you currently see yourself, specifically in terms of confidence and self-worth. Kind of a self-assessment, and then describe the feelings and the thoughts that come up when you think about these aspects of yourself. And then the final part of this question is to respond to what specific situations make you feel particularly confident or insecure. So we're really diving in here with this opening prompt of how are we seeing ourselves when we look in the mirror, when we sit with ourselves long enough to really start to do that self-discovery process. How do we see ourselves? What is reflected back to us? For me, it's very important to kind of break things down, because when I see loaded prompts like this, I can sometimes easily get overwhelmed and be like, oh, this is too much. I'm not ready for this. I want to do this. But the work is important. The inner work is important. And so I break it down. It makes it easier for me to really digest the prompt, to understand it. I have to reread it a few times. If I have to do that, I will. So I broke it down and I just started with, how do I see myself when it comes to my confidence? What is my current confidence level? And I wrote down that it depends on the day. I feel like when I'm prepared, I'm more confident. I'm more ready to step into a meeting or a presentation or whatever it may be. But lately, preparing for anything seems like a hassle. As a mom, as a parent, I feel like I'm just kind of running from one kid to the next. I only have two, but I feel like I'm running from one kid to the next all the time. And so I don't really ever feel like I have moments like I used to before I was a parent, where I can just kind of sit and breathe and be and relax and think through things and research whatever I may need to. I don't have that time anymore. So what I wrote was just kind of a very real statement, like, mostly as a parent and a business owner, I have a hard time just sitting still and getting focused. So my confidence wavers, as it should, but I know that it doesn't determine my value and worth. My confidence level, no matter if it's high, if it's low, if it's steady, no matter what it is, my confidence level does not determine my self-worth. Then I shifted to answer the prompt in regards to my self-worth. Where is it? So it's improving through daily reminders, positive affirmations. I'm reminding myself that I am enough just as I am, simply because I exist. And that's enough. And it's okay to believe in that and to know that you're worth and you're enough just as you are. And I also wrote that making mistakes, being unsure, listening to and taking in the external beliefs, societal pressures, and accomplishments even of my own, none of these things determine my worth. I am a human being, and I am worthy, and I am enough just as I am. It's like when they say in church, come as you are, right? Because you are enough and you are worthy just as you are. Not to say that you can't improve upon your perception of your self-worth, but remember that you are enough just as you are. And then, of course, this is the Mindful Journal Club. So I think it's very important to include mindful practices, tools, techniques, tips that we can do anytime, anywhere, any place. It's not for me necessarily about taking an hour to meditate or to go do yoga or to go for a mindful walk, in the woods for 2 hours. I would love to do those things. But again, I'm a business owner. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I have a lot going on. And I venture to say that so many of you all watching also have a lot going on. So you can't always do the yoga class or take the time to meditate or whatever it is, right? So for me, what I do is quick exercises that just kind of flow and fit into my day. They usually take no more than 1 to 5 minutes, in between working, breaks that I can just kind of just step back and breathe, before going into my next meeting or whatever it may be. These are just small things that I do from time to time that help me to be present, to calm myself, to uplift myself. And it's really, again, all about being mindful, being present, and remembering exactly where you are, acknowledging exactly where you are in that moment. So this guided visualization was one that, of course, related to our self-confidence and our self-worth. So we started by closing our eyes, taking a deep breath in, and then slowly releasing it. And we continue to breathe. And with each breath, we imagine ourselves growing stronger. Inhale. And more grounded. Exhale. And you have to take the time to really visualize yourself being stronger, feeling centered and more grounded. And for this visualization exercise, we visualize a light within us. It represents our self-worth, and it's glowing brighter with every inhale and exhale. We're watching and feeling this light within us grow brighter and brighter. Breathe in and out. We're feeling this light affirming who we are, our unique strengths, and our inherent worth and value. And we're allowing ourselves to fully embrace this entire moment of self-recognition and acceptance. We are enough just as we are. So what I like to do with mindful moments after we do the practice, I often include a journal prompt because it's important for me to reflect right after that experience, after the visualization. It takes assessing it to really help it to sink in. It's not just about doing the exercise, but really processing it and being present. So, the journal prompt: reflect on the light that represents your self-worth. What are the unique strengths and values that this light illuminates? We're going to write about a time when this inner light felt dim, and what specific actions or thoughts help to brighten it again. How can you regularly nurture this light to ensure that it remains strong and vibrant, affirming your inherent worth and value every day? Because it's an ongoing practice. Again, it's about breaking down the prompt, especially when it seems like a lot. So my response to it was, the light that represents my self-worth is steady, patient, and kind, knowing that it's an ebb and flow. When this inner light was dim first, I was carrying my first daughter, and I felt unsure of everything that was going on. More recently, I've been just kind of in this questioning phase of, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? As it relates to my life, my business, just kind of questioning what is true, what is real, what is not, trying to listen to my inner self, having doubt, not really self-sabotage, but really more of just like feeling like, what do I believe? Who am I? And those kinds of questions have been coming up for me as I am getting older. That's like where the light has been feeling a little bit more dim lately. And the things that brought me back, that brightened that light again, are prayer, affirmations, positive reminders, journaling specifically for clarity, because the uncertainty and not knowing is something that's hard for all of us to sit with sometimes. And I think when we can sit and just kind of get clarity in the moment for what is bothering us or what we're unsure about or uncertain about, it helps us to feel more confident, and it reminds us of our worth and our beliefs in ourselves, right? Another thing that I wrote about was positive distractions. So that final question, how can you regularly nurture this light to ensure that it remains strong and vibrant and affirming your inherent value every day? So for me, again, positive distractions, doing things that make me feel good, constant reflection. I do believe that we must examine our lives. We have to reflect. An unexamined life, I feel like is not worthless, but I do feel like there are opportunities missed, and there are moments that we could have, captured that are slipping through our hands when we aren't taking the time to really examine our lives and question ourselves sometimes even about what we're doing and why we're doing it and what we believe and why we believe it. It's important to do that. So for me, the things that brighten that light and help me to maintain this light, right? The brightness, the glow of the light, are doing things that make me feel good, examining my life, just simple reflections, even sometimes sitting in gratitude, thinking of the things that I'm grateful for, and doing things again that make me feel good, confident, like I'm helping someone, whether that's for me, whether it's resting or singing or reading or simply going outside or helping someone in need. These are the things that help to boost my spirit and my light whenever I feel like it's going a little bit dim. So we did that mindful moment. We reflected on it with the journal prompt, and then we prepared to shift into our next prompt. And this is where we really started to scratch the surface of any low levels of our confidence, the origins of why we don't feel confident or why we don't think we're worthy or that we deserve more. We went into this first prompt of exploring self-doubt, self-sabotage, and limiting beliefs. So the prompt here, think about the times you've doubted yourself or engaged in self-sabotage. What specific beliefs about yourself led to these actions? And then write down these limiting beliefs and reflect on where they came from. How have these thoughts held you back from pursuing and going after what truly matters to you? I kind of focus here on the limiting beliefs. So I have been in this interesting spiral of self-doubt lately. When I was younger, self-sabotage was huge for me. So self-sabotage came from me being a perfectionist, right? And wanting to make sure that everything that I did and everything that I said was just right, was perfect, and that I didn't mess up or stumble. There can't be anyone better than you. So I was always, beating myself up about how I did in school, or if I made a mistake at home, I would beat myself up and tell myself things like, oh, you should have done better, and you don't deserve this and that. And so that was like self-sabotage, and it was so huge for me as a child, as a teenager, even as a young adult in college. Through all of the work and by the grace of God, I have been able to come out of that self-sabotage. A lot of the journaling, a lot of the clarity on where this is coming from and why am I, beating myself up and being my own worst critic. Answering those questions, sitting with myself and really kind of reflecting on those tough and hard moments is what helped me to change the habit, reframe the mindset, and be better. Self-doubt, however, has been more recent, where I found myself doubting the work that I was doing because I didn't think I was seeing, the results that I wanted to see, whether it's in my life or in my work, feeling like I'm just stagnant and like asking myself, well, is it really going to happen? Am I really able to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, right? Those are the types of self-doubt thoughts that can come creeping in at any moment, right? But it's having a toolkit, whether that's a mindfulness toolkit, a journaling toolkit, mental health, self-care, whatever it is, having those tools in your back pocket ready for you to use and pull out, to negate, to confront, to combat, to get rid of the self-doubt and the negative self-talk. So I focused on the limiting beliefs because these are interesting as well. So some of the limiting beliefs that I wrote down are sometimes I think I don't know enough. So that imposter syndrome, right? You want to step into a field or a career, or you want to do something creative, but you feel like you don't know enough about it and that you can't. And so you shy away from it, or you walk away from it, or you feel like you have to learn everything you can about it before you can step into it. So that imposter syndrome, sometimes I think I don't know enough. Another limiting belief, sometimes I feel like I don't deserve more. I feel like and this kind of doubles over into my third limiting belief, but I feel like I kind of get stuck in gratitude, which is interesting. And you sit there and you say to yourself, oh, I shouldn't feel a certain way. I should be grateful for what I have, for where I am, for X, Y, Z. You tell yourself these things over and over, but sometimes you really can get stuck in gratitude, and you can get stuck in this idea or this limiting belief that you don't deserve more. Sometimes I don't believe that things will happen for me. So there are moments in life where I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines and I'm wanting great, cool things to happen for me or in my life. And I'm seeing all of these other people get their flowers or reach their dreams, whatever it may be. You can see everyone else reaching levels of success that you yourself are also trying to reach. And while I'm one to just kind of applaud everyone and be so happy for them and really genuinely sit in the joy of them being celebrated or reaching their success, I find myself just kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting for that to happen for me as well, or wanting it to happen for me as well. And then the final one was sometimes I overthink and it's not always positive. I know a lot of us have a tendency to overthink situations. We're very, analytical, and we think about the logic behind everything and how things are going to happen and why and when they're going to happen. But then we start to think about, oh my goodness, all of this has to happen for me to reach my dream, for me to whatever it is. And we overthink and we go into this downward spiral. And again, it's not always positive. It's sometimes very negative. So the second part of this prompt was to reflect on the origins of your self-doubt, your self-sabotage, your limiting beliefs. It's very important to understand where this is coming from, because when you can understand where this is coming from, you can start to pinpoint the things that you need to reframe. And what I mean by reframing is just kind of shifting your mindset and the way you think about these limiting beliefs. It's a way to get rid of them. It's a way to overcome the self-doubt, to end the self-sabotage. For me, some of these beliefs and self-doubt and self-sabotage, a lot of this comes from my childhood when we start to do all of this digging as adults, right? I'm in my 30s. So we start to do all of this digging deep and self-discovery. We find ourselves reverting to our childhood or our teenage years, sometimes even our early adult years. And we start to see patterns and things that have happened to us in our lives that are making us believe what it is we believe today. Sometimes I think I don't know enough. And another one, sometimes I feel like I don't deserve more. Sometimes I feel stuck in my gratitude. Sometimes I overthink and it's not always positive. All of these limiting beliefs and the self-sabotage even that I talked about earlier. They all stem from my childhood and pressure that was put on me to be number one. I had to be number one in my class, or I had to get all A's, and I had to be the best at what I did. There was a saying that my dad would say to us, which is, whether a task be large or small, do it well or not at all. And that kind of stuck with me. And it almost pushed me to try to be best and better at everything that I did. There was this pressure that was put on me as a child from adults at times, but then also from myself. Just having a competitive spirit, this competitive nature. I played almost every sport on top of being in every play and in every performance as a singer. Like, I had this urge for some strange reason to do it all. And I wanted to be good at everything that I did, right? Whether it has to be large or small, do it well or not at all. And I didn't want to live up to the not at all part of it. I always wanted to do it well, and everything that I did, I wanted to do well. Not recognizing the crazy amounts of pressure that I was putting on myself to get there. And there are moments, I'm sure, that everyone has when they're striving to be their best, or there's some people out there who are recovering perfectionists like myself. And so with this prompt, just kind of digging into where this all started for me, I was then able to see where I today am holding myself back. So how have these thoughts, these limiting beliefs, this self-doubt, this self-sabotage, how have these thoughts held you back from pursuing what truly matters? I think they create distractions. Self-doubt, self-sabotage, limiting beliefs. They tell you things that aren't true. You're filling your mind with things that are not true about yourself. You're pressuring yourself. And then you're also distracting yourself. You're spending time thinking about why you can't do something, or why something isn't meant for you, or why something isn't for you. You're spending so much time thinking of the impossibilities when we could be really sitting with what is possible. Personally, how have these thoughts held you back from pursuing what truly matters to you? So personally, I have been held back or I've been holding myself back because I'm spending so much time thinking of self-doubt, thinking that I'm not capable, imposter syndrome, thinking that if I don't know enough, I can't do anything. And it holds us back. Our own thoughts, they're not even like physical barriers holding us back. It's our thoughts that are holding us back from going after what we truly want, believe, and know that we are worthy of and deserve. So then we get into this second part of this prompt. Your inherent worth to building confidence. So this prompt was for every belief that we just wrote down, every limiting belief that we just wrote down, every thought about self-sabotage and self-doubt that we just wrote down. We're going to write a counter statement or an affirmation that reflects your true worth and capabilities. So we're reframing here, that we're doing the actual act and practice of reframing. We're going to answer how these positive affirmations can help us move forward. And then we're going to visualize ourselves really embodying these affirmations and these counter statements in daily life. And then we're going to describe how that makes us feel. My first limiting belief. Sometimes I think I don't know enough. My counter statement. I know that I am enough. When I don't feel like I'm enough, I can remind myself that I am enough with just that simple statement. Sometimes saying these things out loud, these affirmations, right? Saying them out loud helps us to hear ourselves, and then we really start to believe it. It does take, repeating it, being present, hearing ourselves saying it, and really hearing the words and what they mean and believing in them, saying it with conviction is important because it helps us to really rewire some of that self-doubt and self-sabotage and self-talk, negative self-talk that we've built up in our brains. My next limiting belief. Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve more. The counter statement. It's not about what you do or don't do. You are ever growing, always learning. Go after your dreams. If you want something or if you deserve it or you think you deserve something, go after it. Don't let yourself sit on the sidelines when you know or believe that you deserve more. The third limiting belief. Sometimes I feel stuck in my gratitude. The counter statement. Gratitude should not be limiting. It should open you up to more love and more joy. Simple statements that can easily counter these limiting beliefs and these self-sabotage, self-doubt thoughts that we have. My next one, sometimes I don't believe that things will happen for me. Counter statement, affirmation. Be open, be hopeful, be optimistic. Everything that is supposed to happen will happen. And if you need to, create your own path. Limiting belief. Sometimes I overthink and it's not always positive. The counter statement. I wrote, counter your negative thoughts with positive ones. As soon as I have a negative thought, my mind is now triggered to saying, hold on, wait a minute. We're not going to think that way. We're not going to self-sabotage. We're not going to sit in doubt. We're not going to, lower our self-esteem and our self-confidence and worth. What we are going to do is think positive. Think about the best outcomes, and even if they don't happen, even then, because you thought positive, you'll be better able to handle the situation if it turns out a little bit different than what we want. Why? Because you know your worth. You know that you're enough. You know that situations, experiences, and people do not determine your worth, and you're grounded and solid in that, right? Your confidence may shake. You might be a little bit iffy about certain situations going into different experiences, but your worth remains. And if you can get into the habit of countering negative thoughts with positive ones, and first even acknowledging when a negative thought is floating on by, right? Acknowledging that, and then having, again, that practice and those affirmation statements to really rewire the thinking, right? Rewire the negative self-talk is important. We learn to empower ourselves and push ourselves and motivate ourselves and think positive and think about the best outcomes and continue to be hopeful, it helps us to continue forward. It's not about necessarily toxic positivity. It's not lying to ourselves, right? But it's reminding ourselves that we are worth it. We are worthy. We are enough, just as we are, where we are. When we can do that, when we have these tools in our back pockets to help us do that, it helps us to continue life and to continue pushing forward and to continue achieving our dreams and going after what we know we want, we love, we deserve. We're worth it. We're already enough, just as we are. So this is just scratching the surface of what we're going to get into with the course that's being built out. If you haven't already watched the previous video, know that we are postponing the course as it was supposed to launch on April 21st. We're postponing it because I want it to be a more well-rounded and full course. I don't just want to focus on confidence like I was planning on doing, because I realized that confidence is just a layer on top of the foundation of our self-worth. When we know that our self-worth is inherent and we are enough just as we are, we can continue to build on our confidence and our self-esteem. We can start to get rid of self-doubt, self-sabotage, and limiting beliefs. I think that the course needs to incorporate all of these things and not just focus on confidence, because our confidence can be shaken. It can be up here. We can achieve all the things in the world with that strong sense of self-confidence. But then on the inside, we're like, well, I achieved that. I reached my dream. I did it. Why do I still feel empty inside? Why do I not feel fulfilled? What is happening here? And that's self-worth. And it's not something that you can build on. It's not something that you can improve on. But what you can do with your self-worth is improve your perception of your worth. You can improve how you view yourself, how you treat yourself, how you love yourself. You can improve what you believe, what you know you believe, what you know you deserve, right? You can improve on that perception of it. We're going to get into that in the course. This was just scratching the surface and kicking off the series. So here at the Mindful Journal Club, we always end in gratitude. I believe in ending on a high note, and gratitude is that for me. It's the root of joy for me. Today's gratitude prompt was to write down at least 3 aspects of yourself or your life that you're grateful for. And then I don't like to leave it at just where you're listing things that you're grateful for, but I like to take that a step further, and I'll often add a question or two, even if the question is as simple as why are you grateful for what you're grateful for, just to add that extra layer of mindfulness and presence and meaning and weight behind our gratitude. So today, as we talk about self-confidence and self-worth, I want you to list these 3 aspects of yourself or your life that you're grateful for, and then answer, how do these qualities or experiences or aspects contribute to your self-worth and your self-confidence? And then reflect on how the simple act of acknowledging these things can impact your perception or your view of yourself moving forward. So that's where we ended our session today, our confidence and embracing your self-worth session today. And this again is all just scratching the surface of what is to come, which is our course, one of my very first courses that I'm pulling together all around embracing your self-worth and your confidence. Now, it was going to launch today, but I figured that it would be best if we included the idea and the concepts and the practices around self-worth, self-esteem, getting rid of self-sabotage and self-doubt and limiting beliefs in our lives and in our minds. I wanted to create an entire, a whole course. I didn't want to just give you bits and pieces. And I don't think just having a course on confidence is enough. It has to have that foundation of knowing your self-worth, and then we build on that self-worth with our confidence. We build on it with practices to elevate our self-esteem. So we're postponing the course, but it will be launching in May. And this course will be where we dive deeper into some of these prompts and exercises that we did today and more along the way as well. So if you want to sign up for the course, there is a QR code on your screen right now for you to sign up, get ready for the launch, and have access to it when we drop the course in May. And if you have any questions, you also can see my email on the screen. We are going to dive into self-worth and building our confidence and getting rid of that negative self-talk and all the things that are telling us lies to ourselves about ourselves, those things that just aren't true. And we're going to reframe, and we're going to be more hopeful and optimistic, but we're going to do that with a realistic perspective and real practices that can actually help us to start to live the lives that we deserve to live and that we want to live. So with that, I will leave you, and I hope to see you in our next session. Peace, peeps.